Hello and welcome to my presentation about quadratic concepts. I'm going to show you some two concepts. The first one will be about how to expand two brackets to get a quadratic expression. The second one will be about doing the reverse of that. That is factorizing a quadratic expression to get two brackets. And we begin. Before us here is a question. We're told expand the following. That is x plus 3 and x times 2. That should lead us into getting quadratic expression. And let me show you the solution. So here goes the solution. Hint. Now the first thing we should always understand here is when we are doing this kind of question, we'll need to multiply every term in one bracket with every term in the other bracket. Every term in one bracket is multiplied by every other term in the other bracket. You can always devise a way of doing that, but I'm going to show you how I think it should be done, or one of the easiest ways of approaching that. We have the two brackets, x plus 3, and the other bracket is x plus 2. So in doing that, we are going to multiply this x with the x in the other bracket. Remember, this is a term in the first, this is a term in the second bracket, so those ones are multiplied together to get x squared. Again, we're going to multiply this same x with 2, in which case we'll get 2x. Again, we're going to multiply this 3 with x to get 3x, and again the same 3 with 2 to get 6. What we have achieved here is what this hint targets. Every term here is multiplied by every term here. Having multiplied that, we have gotten x squared, 2x, 3x, and 6. The next major part of that question involves grouping the like terms together and, of course, simplifying the expression. So, having multiplied, we got these 4 terms. The x squared, this one, the 2x, that one there, 3x, that one there, and 6, which is that one there. We need to group the like terms together, and observing this keenly, we only have 2 terms which are like. The first and the last have no like terms, but the 2x and 3x have like terms. In which case, if you add, you get 5x. Now, the question therefore now turns to x squared plus 5x plus 6, and that is simply how we expand two brackets to get a quadratic expression like it is there. Now, please, in future, take care of this. In case this sign and the other one here, in case they're negative or one of them is negative, these terms we get here might not be as they have appeared. For example, if 3 was negative, we would have a negative 3x. We would also have negative 6. And so that would change the way things would be done here. If 3 was negative here, this would be negative. The 3x here, this would also be negative 6. So this would not be 5x. It would be 2x minus 3x, which would be negative x here. This would be negative 6. So things might not always be this way, especially if any of these signs is not positive. However, what I presented there was a general way of how to go about forming quadratic expressions by multiplying two brackets. From here, we turn to the next concept that I wanted to show you, which is about factorizing a quadratic expression to get two brackets. And that actually is exact opposite of what we have done here. So let's turn there. So before us is the quadratic expression 3x squared plus 17x plus 10. Now, before I show you how to do that, we need to understand the terms here. The first term has an x squared, the second term has an x raised to no power, or in our case, in mathematics, we should say it is raised to power 1. We also have 10, which does not seem to have an x, but actually the x is raised to power 0. Since x raised to power 0 is 1, 1 times 10 is 10. Therefore, this is supposed to be understood in that way. We have 3x squared, 17x raised to power 1, and 10x raised to power 0. So look at the powers of x in terms of their descending order. X squared, x raised to power 1, and x raised to power 0. Having done that, therefore, I'm going to introduce you two things. One, we need to understand some concept. The first one is sum, which in our case is 17. But what is sum? Sum is the coefficient of the middle term. We have 3 terms here. The middle term has x raised to power 1, which normally is the middle term in every quadratic expression. And in our case, it's 17. Again, we need to understand a concept, another term, product, which is the multiplication of the first and the third. The multiplication of the first and third terms, which is 30. Now, That is explained there, that sum is normally the coefficient of the middle term, in our case is 17. The product is the coefficient of first and third terms, which in our case is 30. Let me say this. If 17 is not positive, or 10 is not positive, or even 3, or any of those ones, this might not always be this particular way. For example, if this sign here between 3x squared and 17x, if the sign was negative, this would not be 17, it would be negative 17. We should always be precise to the sign. If this was negative 10, this would be negative 30. So in future, you need to take care of that. The next thing, we need to split the middle term into two terms. We need to split the middle term into two terms so that we have 4 terms in total, so that we can factorize in pairs. We have 3 terms here. We need to split the middle term into 2 terms. That is, the sum should be split to 2 to get 2 terms representing 17x, in which case we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms in number in total. The question is just how do you do that? I'm going to show you here. Get all the factors of the product. Now this is wrong here. It should not be multiples, it should be factors. So get all the factors of the product, this product here, in pairs, and ask yourself which ones of those ones are 17. Now the number 30 is actually equal to 1 times 30. It also equals to 2 times 15. It's equals to 3 times 30. It's equals to 5 times 6. And which ones here would add up to 17? No doubt the second pair, which is 2 plus 15, and that would give us 17. Let me say something. In cases when say these signs when are not positive, this might not always be the case. For example, if our sum here, say our sum, if it was 13, or say if our sum was 13, we would have minus 2 plus 15. If the sum was negative 13, it would be 2 minus 15, which would be negative 13. Well, what I'm trying to say is that if these signs are not positive, this might not always be the case. But there's always a way that if you get all the factors of the product in pairs, there's always a way that you can add, either by having a negative both of them, or a positive for both of them, or at least one of them. Now, having done that, therefore, this expression now can be rewritten with the 3x still remaining, the 10 remaining, by 17 is replaced by 2 and 15. And there we have it. 3x squared plus 2x plus 15x plus 10. 2x plus 15x is 17x. Therefore, we haven't changed it. Only that we have a chance now to factorize in pairs, since we have 4 terms. And that leads us to what I have written there. We have x factorized out from the first 2 terms to get 3x and 2, because that would be the case. And again, 15x plus 10x, 15x and 10, if you factorize out the common thing, it is 5, and you get 3x plus 2. Something very peculiar there you should consider. The 2 brackets that we got there, they are the same. They should always be the same. Otherwise, we are wrong. So ensure that the 2 brackets that get there, they're the same. If they're not the same, then something is not right up here in your working. Now, this question, therefore, can be completed by simply now rewriting this one. Since we have x and 5, and you have 3x and 3x plus 2 and 3x plus 2, now it's as though 3x plus 2 and 3x plus 2 are a common thing. So you can factorize it out, which is this one here, and x plus 5, which is this other one here. And now we have achieved our goal. We wanted to factorize this quadratic expression to get 2 brackets, and there we have it. It equals to x plus 5, 3x plus 2. If you multiply these 2 brackets together using the concept I've just introduced at the beginning of the tutorial, you'd get 3x squared plus 17x plus 10. And there you have it. That's how you do quadratic concepts. First of all, how to expand, and second concept there being how to factorize. And always remember to like and subscribe to my channel.